welcome back, my friends, to another exciting video. And this time around, Empires and Puzzles dropped an exciting event for us for Christmas week, and it is going to be 5 days of Christmas gem pull challenges. And why 5 days, you might ask? Well, it seems like they have decided to focus on a specific element on each day. So there will be a gem challenge pull. Each of these gem challenge pulls will be for 110 pull. So it's not an incredibly expensive buy-in, but since there are 5 of them, it can add up. And you really, I think, don't necessarily need to participate in all 5. Maybe some people out there will feel like they want to, and that's perfectly fine. But even at the cheapest portal cost of $2,600, participating in all 5 of these is going to end up costing you 13,000 gems. So just understand that that is a pretty expensive buy-in to do all 5. However, the nice part is it being focused on a particular element on each day. You can make a choice as to which element is going to be best for you. All right, moving on from there, let's go ahead and break these down, and we'll try to go in order of how they are going to be listed. So first up, we're going to be starting off with blue or ice. That is going to be Tuesday. And what's going to come up on this particular day is going to be a list of 10 heroes. I'm going to go through them relatively quickly, just because we are going to do 50 heroes in this video. So I'm only going to cover the ones that I think are worth talking about. Other ones, I will show a picture of them and just kind of say they're outdated and move on. So first things first, they are listing Hrothgar. This is a absolutely brilliant pickup. If you are able to get him, he's definitely going to be one of the top choices. Then we're going to have Glass Richard. The real question becomes, are they going to feature all the costumes with Glass Richard this time, or are they going to do like they did before and just give you the one Glass costume and make you have the others? I don't know yet, but Glass Richard would be amazing if he does come with all the costumes. All right, then we also get a costume for Mr. Pengy. This is going to be a really nice Christmas hero. This, again, is probably one worth collecting, especially if you have minion characters. He is going to end up doing quite a bit of fun for you, so I do recommend him as well. Down here, we get White Fang. White Fang is going to be one of the foxes. I do really enjoy the foxes specifically for their passive, which is going to reduce the healing that the opposing side receives by 50%. This makes them good, even if their stats are starting to fall off. Never underestimate how powerful that 50% healing down passive can be, especially because you don't need to land it. It just exists. So there's no reflect, there's no resist. It just is until this character is taken off of the battlefield. So very cool. Definitely recommend him. Zappa. Zappa's an old Christmas hero. I mean, not really that exciting, but could be interesting if you like collecting the Christmas heroes. Tinsel in the exact same boat. This hero, not exactly what I would call that great. Costume Krampus is stronger and a reasonable tank. If you don't have a tank for your roster, Costume Krampus can actually fulfill that role for you and do a okay job doing it. So just understand that that's probably a pretty good win. Mariol used to be a really nice owl healer. Nowadays, kind of falling off in the stats department, but still a fast healer that does boosted health, and will also have the mana passive that they added later. It doesn't show it here, but it will stop mana gain for the opposing side by a significant amount. Pophit is going to be one of the old gargoyles. He still does soft skin for himself and nearby, as well as defense down, and a really decent hit to 3 for fast speed. So, I think this guy, although falling off in stats a little bit, is still worth considering. He's a good guy. Then Vincent is another fluffy gargoyle, so 2 of them in the blue category. Do I think that this is better? I don't think he might be higher stats, as you can see. This is 1005, this is 1107. 100 more CP is nice, but I don't think he has as cool effects on his, but still pretty interesting. The fluffy gargoyles are pretty cool characters. Okay, so now that was a relatively quick wrap of what we have for the ice heroes. This will be tomorrow or Tuesday for this particular summon pull. And out of all the colors, I have reviewed them. I want to say that I recommend blue as probably the strongest group of overall heroes. The other nice thing about pulling out of this particular challenge is that tomorrow you can still choose to do your 10 pull out of the Brave and the Beautiful portal if you would like to do so. And they have, of course, brand new heroes that are pretty significant at a 3,000 buy-in. That's 400 more than the cheaper portals. But to be fair, there's brand new heroes that are pretty darn good. So that would be my recommendation. Do consider blue and consider doing the Brave and the Beautiful if you want to do that. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the next day, which is going to be Nature. We're going to start the Nature list out pretty strong with a Garrison Guard Kolya. This would definitely be a win. You would be very happy to pull this guy. Then also Talonis. This guy is too old right now to be that relevant. I suppose if he gets a costume in the Mage Tower, that he will become more exciting, but as of right now, he's not great. Bonzo is going to be a bard. Bards are always fantastic. I highly recommend you collect bards where you can. Their mana bonus really helps, and they have some cool effects as well. This one is the Dance Reducer and the Ballot Reducer, which works great against things like Sludges, for example, who is still, surprisingly, in a lot of the meta. Sludges still pops up all the time. So, great counter to a character like that. Definitely worth collecting. Over here, Ginger. Ginger would be awesome if they offer her costume, but I'm going to guess probably not. The reason being is that it is available right now in the Christmas portal, and I just don't think they're going to be kind enough to give us a brand new hero out of a portal that's currently active. So I'm guessing you're just going to get Ginger base, which means that her stats are going to be a little dated, though still a very fun character to use, just not as relevant. All right, Relius, this green resurrection owl. Honestly, here's the problem with Relius. This guy's going to be offered in Fated Summon coming up very soon, so you'll be able to pick him up if you want very easily. So I don't think he's as relevant because of that, but I suppose if you get him here, you don't have to bother with Fated Summon, so I guess there's that. All right, costume or Glass Elkinen. Obviously, this is a very strong pull, especially if they do decide to offer all the costumes. If they do not, and you just get Glass, he probably won't be relevant enough without collecting the other costumes, which can be a little bit tough and something you should consider. Don't assume you're going to get the full-powered Elkinen if they do not offer all costumes. Now, Garten. All right, this guy is awesome. He's probably my favorite out of this portal, assuming Elkinen doesn't come with all of the costumes. But anyway, this guy is really good. If you pull him, consider it a win. I understand he's a little bit behind in stats compared to current day, but he's awesome in Insanity War, as his fluffy skin will protect you from insanity, believe it or not. Really cool stuff. And he gives it to the whole party. So if you time him correctly in Insanity War, you can protect your whole team, and that is awesome. All right. So let's go ahead and... Oh, wait, no. What am I doing? There's still more. Mother North. Mother North costume is a great pickup. She's not exactly the strongest Resurrector anymore, but in the 1370-ish range, I think, if you max her out, she's still a very solid Resurrector, and in Rush War, she can still be a headache, so you can consider her. And then Augustus is just kind of a joke of a hero nowadays. Unfortunately, without any costume or anything like that, he's so irrelevant that he's just soul exchange bait. All right. Oh, and there was... Oh my gosh, I got to keep up with this. Okay, Moonflower as well. I feel the same is true about Moonflower as I just said about Augustus. This guy is too old to be relevant. His special wasn't really even good when he first came out. Soul exchange bait all day for this guy. All right. So next up, of course, would be Fire Heroes, but just a quick rundown. I'm not overly impressed with the nature offerings that they gave. It's an okay list. It's just not what I would consider to be strong. And since, I'm guessing that we probably, as a whole, will not be participating in all 5. You got to pick a couple days to skip. And in my personal opinion, Nature's one of those days that would be okay to skip and you don't lose out on too much. But again, your own personal roster may affect your decision there. All right, moving on. Let's go over to our Fire Heroes. Now, this is going to be Christmas Day, all right? So on the 25th, the Christmas Day, we're going to be dealing with Fire Hero list, and they will start out pretty strong with Dima. Dima is a fantastic garrison guard. You've got that wither removal. You've got a Mega Minion that spreads a pretty strong dot. You've got some defense down. All of these things are just relatively good stuff he does. He would definitely be a win. All right, then we get Elba. Elba is unfortunately getting dated as a Valentine's hero. And really, as the Valentine's heroes go, she was not one of the most well-received. So I think that she would probably be soul exchange bait in my personal opinion, but you're welcome to collect her if you are so inclined. Hammerkling. Hammerkling is an old elf, but I will say this. Hammerkling has a lot of useful utility. Probably one of the better attacking utility characters in the game. So this is not to be underestimated. This can help you with Titan hits. In fact, I still use a Titan team with Hammerkling for his offensive abilities to boost the rest of my damage dealers so that I can pump out good Titan hits. So pretty cool guy. All right, Cookie's not that great. Honestly, he's just dated, so don't worry about him. He would probably be soul exchange bait, I'm guessing. Cinderella. Cinderella is a strong character, but not so much in PvP. This is more like if you like doing events and stacking scores and so on and so forth. Cinderella is one of those that's really going to help you clear through events a little bit faster, help stack up points higher, but your investment would really mostly be to affect your event scores rather than anything else with her. All right, and then finally we get Rust. Rust is... He's a fox. He's got the passive for the healing reduction. I mean, you can't really turn that down. But the rest of him isn't exactly holding up these days. I don't think Rust was particularly strong when it came to the foxes and their abilities out there. He's probably one of my least favorite. But he is still a fox, and he still is a pretty good character overall compared to some of the other things in these portals. So don't be sad if you pull this guy. That passive alone is going to be great. All right, so that does bring me to my comments for whether I think that the Fire Portal on Christmas Day is going to be worth pulling from. I personally feel like this was the weakest list that they put out, and as much as I'm sure a lot of people love Fire Heroes and want to collect some, I think you're taking a big risk in here. Not a lot of these are very impactful. There are a couple, but this is definitely one that I would choose to skip if I had to make a cut down decision. So there you have it. Let's move on to our next color. Oh gosh, how did I forget the rest of these guys? Sorry, guys. I need to double check that I'm catching up with all these. Santa Claus costume, even with his costume, waste of space, honestly. Like, this character is just not relevant. If you like collecting the Christmas characters, cool, but honestly, just don't bother putting mats into him. But this girl is actually not terrible. And I'm sorry that I skipped over her. I had to go through and collect some of these pictures after the fact, so that would be part of the problem here. But this chick was okay. That's what I'm going to say about her. She was an okay offering from Christmas. Otilla, she did very fast damage, which was pretty reasonable. She copies the buffs off the enemy that she hits. She's going to summon an elf minion, but I'm pretty sure it was only for herself. She's just an okay, very fast hitter. Sorry. So, I mean, if you're looking for a very fast hitter to round out your roster, she's probably one of the better ones from the red portal. All right, now that. Oh, nope, there's still one more. All right, so, and then, of course, we have Aeron. I keep forgetting there's 10 for each of these. We're going to go through 50 heroes tonight. So, Aeron, again, is an owl. This one's going to have the mana passive, which is kind of useful. It's going to be a fast, mindless, or shifting mindless character. So, it does help you put the shifting out there, which is a great way to kind of control the field. If you pulled Aeron, the stats are falling off, but the skill set is still there. It's probably worth leveling depending on how deep your roster is. Like, I wouldn't hate pulling this character, but it wouldn't be a priority for me to level. Let's put it that way. All right, now, I also have Glass Elena on deck. Glass Elena is going to be similar to what we just talked about with the other glass costumes. Really nice pull if, and I repeat, if they include all the costumes. But if they do not, unfortunately, she's just not going to be relevant enough. And I think there's also something to be said that I don't know if her ability is all that great. Compared to some of the other glass costumes, she might be lagging a little bit behind in relevancy these days for slow speed. But even so, I would consider it a win to get a glass costume at full power out of here. It's just going to depend on how many costumes they include. Now, honestly, there we go. Now we finally reached the end of the fire list. So a reminder, I don't think this is one of the strongest portal options out there, but there is some okay stuff. A little bit of utility. I forgot to add those additional ones, so it made me feel like there wasn't a lot of value. Got a little bit higher after covering those final three. Okay, now on to yellow. And this is going to be the day after Christmas. So now we're looking around Friday here. At least in my time zone. So they're going to start things out with quite a few healers in this particular one. And this one, of course, is from the Beowulf portal. Welthero is a fantastic win. If you get her, congrats, level her. She is absolutely fun. Then we have Moonbell. Moonbell's a huge win as well. Although he's older, he is still such a headache. You will use him somewhere in your roster, I promise. Albin, old Christmas hero. I mean, he's got better stats than some, but outside of Rush, I don't think this guy is going to give you a lot of value. So I don't know if he's worth investing deep into, but he's at least higher in the CP department. All right. Fiona is a old hero of the month healer. She's okay, but literally that's all she is okay. You can do better with the other healers in this portal. Then we have Glass Viv. Glass Viv, again, suffers from the same problem we have with all the other glass costumes. We do not know if it will come with all the costumes, and if it does, fantastic character, really relevant in the stats department and all of that. But they need to come with all the costumes. Otherwise, it's just going to not get you as much value as you're hoping for. Costume Wolfgang. Costume Wolfgang is a pretty strong character, too. Does some very interesting stuff. I would say this particular character would be worth looking into and leveling if you pulled him. He's from the Knights, which is kind of fun, too. So just a lot of interesting aspects to this one. He's probably one of the good wins out of here. Livia is going to be, I believe, a healer. I don't fully remember Livia. Being another owl, you get the mana passive, but I don't remember Livia even being that relevant or in the meta all that much. So I'm going to guess that this particular hero won't be that exciting. Yeah, and honestly, I just don't remember her at all. So that makes me feel she was pretty forgettable. All right, Hilda. Hilda is a very nice gargoyle. Although getting a little bit dated in stats, I will say this. Hilda is one of the gargoyles I would still use on a regular basis. The way that she functions is just very, very nice. Reasonable damage, good survivability, fighter class to pop back up. I would say Hilda would be a win if you do pull her. Meg Geary. Meg Geary is a solid healer still, although falling off a little bit in the stats department. She's tanky because she's a paladin, and she does lift one dispellable effect and send it back to the other side. So it can be very fun to reflect back some of these really devastating dots and so on and so forth. So I would say Meg is still definitely worth considering to expand your healer roster. Christina Day. Christina Day is a unique character in the fact that she is a fast damage dealer, but she also makes the other side do the ballad, where they will be able to have all their buffs and everything removed. This is a very strong character for what she does, but her stats, unfortunately, have fallen off and made her mostly irrelevant for damage. I think she's going to be more used as utility due to her ballad effects than anything else moving forward. Keep that in mind. All right, so what do we think of the yellow offerings on Friday the 26th? Well, honestly, I think this is a very strong portal, especially if you're searching for a healer. I think you're going to get 3 really strong healers out of this portal in the Beowulf healer, Glass Vivica, and Magiri. Those are all very strong, especially if they get all the costumes. The glass is still kind of up in the air. Fiona is actually not a terrible healer too. If you're just looking to expand your healer roster, you could use her as well. But the other utility and characters that they add in here are also not awful. So I would say this might be my second pick for strongest portals to choose from. So definitely consider this on Friday if you need a holy hero. All right, let's go ahead and get into the very last one, which is going to be the Dark Portal. The Dark Portal is going to be Saturday, the 27th. So this portal, of course, we have another glass costume, no surprise there, this time being Sartana. Sartana is very, very strong. And again, if you're offered all the costumes, this would be a wonderful pull. Definitely level her up, don't question that. The next nice thing about this Dark Portal is we're going to see two foxes in here. We're going to see Swiftpaw here, which is a very interesting character. All of the foxes are probably worth picking up because they are passive. Swiftpaw may not be one of the strongest, but is probably worth having, again, just to fill out your roster with more heal reduction. Great choice. Cool if you pull her. Next up is Shadowfang. Shadowfang, less used fox because he's slow, but I will say this, absolute monster in Rush. I hate going up against this guy. He can really kind of wreck a team if you don't get him under control and he starts popping off a little bit too fast. His Bone Fiends can fill up the field and you are just going to have a really bad day. So I think this guy's a huge win if you pull him as well. Demiloon. Demiloon is an older elf, but has some really cool abilities in the fact that he will steal dispellable buffs and put them onto your side instead from a target nearby. I think he also has a growth effect, which is pretty cool as well. So this guy can do some interesting stuff. Although his stats are starting to fall off, I think he's got the right utility to make him somewhat interesting. Peppermint, this guy, just don't. He's an old Christmas hero. His stats are some of the lowest in the portal. He is Soul Exchange bait. Then we have Uwe. Uwe was recently in Soul Exchange for 10 heroes. Look, this is not the most exciting offering in here, but if you did pull him, he's interesting, especially in Rush. He can really help fill out your roster. He has decent survivability, a very strong hit at like 850%. The slow is tough, but again, in Rush War, I think this guy still has a really nice, reasonable spot in your roster. All right. Then they gave us Von Rothbart as well. This guy used to be a complete and total G when he first came out, right? He would absolutely wreck people. Nowadays, he exists on a slightly different level. I think he's still good utility because of the way that he silences the target. And then also, if you remove that silence, he does, I think, 1,600 damage to the target. So between his hit, like if you take out one of their healers, right? Like let's say they have a druid healer, you hit them with the silence, all right? They take a strong hit. Then they try to cleanse it off, but that hit is going to be another 1,600 damage for cleansing it off. You may have killed the healer inadvertently with that additional damage done. So it's a very strong effect, and operating at average speed, it's very possible to derail your opponent's entire plan with a character like Von Rothbart. I think that alone makes him valuable and worth getting. Cecilia, she is a little bit older in the Knights department. She is going to be offered in the up-and-coming Fated Summon as well, which means she's probably not one of the best characters to pull out of here, but she does serve a purpose. She can add some survivability to your team. She has a fast hit all. She's okay. I don't know. I'm on the cusp of whether she's worth still investing in these days with the number of heroes that just cannot miss, but that will be up to you to decide whether she's Soul Exchange bait or worth holding on to. Eros is getting a little bit older, but I do believe that there's some talk about Eros possibly getting a costume this year. I don't have proof of this, and this is all just rumblings, and maybe it's just fans hoping this is the case. But if she does get a costume this year, having a second base of her would not necessarily be terrible. She's a very good, very fast hitter that also leaves a debuff to increase damage received by 40%. So you can start out quick with hitting her on the target, then follow up with other hits at 40% additional damage. It can help you burn through enemies really quickly. So I do think she's fantastic and might be worth having a second base of her tucked away until next month when they release the Season of Love. You can find out if she gets a costume. If she does, great. If she doesn't, maybe she's Soul Exchange bait, but just keep that in mind. All right, so that handles that. And then last but not least, we have Omidus. Another owl. This is not one of my favorite owls, being slow, but it does destroy all fiends from all allies. So with the number of veggie heroes out there creating fiends and being annoying, maybe there's some room for Omidus to exist in people's rosters, but probably not mine. I don't know if I would be excited enough to level this character. The stats are getting dated. The only time I think I'd ever really get good use out of this character is in Rush, and I just don't know if I level a character just for Rush, if that makes sense. But hey, you know what? Still an interesting character, still an owl, still has the passive to affect mana gain for the opposing side, all that fun stuff. So could be interesting if that's what you want to do. All right, so that brings us to the end of the Dark Portal as well. All right, that's That's the 5th day. So this is Saturday the 27th. And my honest opinion on this portal is I kind of like the dark option. One, there's 2 foxes in there, and that could be a win in and of itself. A 20% chance or 1 in 5 chance to just get a fox is pretty cool. Like, I mean, in my personal opinion, that's pretty cool. And that might make me want to pull from this portal a little bit more than the Holy One. I'm not sure, because honestly, there's still an 80% chance to get something else right. But 1 in 5 chance to get a fox is a far better odds than pulling a fox out of pretty much any other portal. So just keep that in mind. And the anti-healing passives, they just are so cool. Like, they help me win so many raid and war hits and so on and so forth. Okay, so I think that's going to cover it. This was a longer video. Gosh, I just like powered through like 50 heroes. So I understand I normally do more in-depth videos. You're welcome to look deeper into this. There will be other content creators that did that for you, but this was kind of popped up out of nowhere, and I'm doing my best to get this content out to you guys quickly. I do appreciate you all. And again, if you like what I do, there's a button at the bottom right. You just click that. You can find me easier in the future, and we look forward to talking to you next time. Thank you all.